we might hear them. Yeah.
It wasn't a great clearance. Hooked back over there by Tom Lees. Acrobatics! What a finish that is! Great finish there from Stephen Fletcher. We are enjoying this.
I've seen Stephen Fletcher attempt that before, and you could see what was on his mind, and that ball went up. It was a superb execution.
Hello and a warm welcome to the Sheffield Wednesday Lockdown Sports Quiz. I'm Rob O'Neill, your host for this evening, and a voice that you might find familiar from our iFollow commentary service. But it's not often you have the misfortune of seeing me in vision. Not strictly true, actually. Who remembers commentary cam from a few seasons ago and that memorable night against Brighton in the playoff semi-final first leg at Hillsborough? Kieran Lee returns it back towards Gary Hooper. First time pass out wide towards the right hand side. It's now with Wallace. Wallace comes inwards. Wallace will strike low. It's in! It's in! There's no stopping that goal! Wednesday do take the lead, and it's Wallace into the bottom corner. Refreshed after his 3-match ban, and an absolute ripper into the bottom corner past David Stockdale. Advancing Sheffield Wednesday. One step closer to Wembley. It's Sheffield Wednesday 1, Brighton 0.
Well, what an absolute beauty. Ross Wallace, what is he, 35 yards out? That is a superb first goal of the season. We've had some fantastic goals, but that beats them all.
Hunt on this right hand side. Plays it inside there for Forestieri. Slips it through. Kieran Lee with a chance! And it's Kieran Lee with a fine finish.
What a
typical
finish!
Kieran Lee movement in towards the area. He just bends it into the corner. Wednesday do have a second goal. 72 minutes. It's Kieran Lee with a bursting run from midfield. And we've got a 2-goal cushion thanks to this strike from Kieran Lee. So it's my job tonight to try and keep you entertained with a series of rounds and questions, all based on Sheffield Wednesday. Feel free to play along at home, including the hashtag SWFC quiz if you're answering it online. Alternatively, you can do it the old-fashioned way. Grab yourself a pen and paper and note the answers down as we go along. Throughout the course of the evening, we'll be bringing you a number of familiar faces from days gone by to set you some questions, as well as members of the current squad. It's all coming up in the big Sheffield Wednesday Sports Quiz. I'll be chucking in some classic goals and some clips of some great skill as well. No prizes up for grabs this evening, but plenty of points. The big Wednesday Sports Quiz kicks off now with round 1, the here and now. So let's make a start then with our first question in round 1. This is all about the current squad. Which member of the Owls first team has the most appearances for the club? Question number 2. How many championship goals has Stephen Fletcher scored this season? And how many more will he score once we get started again? That could be an even more important question. Palmer then preparing to send this one into the area. Morgan Fox is there. It goes in towards Tom Lees. Headed in there. Newey's falling. Can Wednesday force it in? It's Fletcher! Stephen Fletcher's done it for Wednesday! Right at the death! Question number 3. Which club did Wednesday sign defender Julian Berner from last summer? He's certainly been a key member of the first team squad this season. He's been an absolute bargain for Wednesday. But what team did he come from?
Good evening Harris. It's opened up. Oh, and touched in. Well, Julian Berner is taking the credit for it, but Harris's shot taking a nick on its way through, and Wednesday in front.
Too easy, Kadeem Harris. Berner there. Deft little flick.
Let's move on now to question number 4. And for the first time in the programme, we're going to bring in one of our special guests. And it's a member of the Owls first team squad, a mainstay, you could say. It's Owls fullback, Liam Palmer.
Can you name the club I played for on loan during the 2012-2013 season?
Here's Hutchinson, it goes down the line, in for Palmer, just rolls the defender, Liam Palmer's through and goal! What a finish it is from Palmer. He doesn't get many for Wednesday. He's got a great big smile on his face, and I'm not surprised. A great finish there from Palmer. Goes through in the box and just keeps a level head and sticks it away into the corner of the goal. Thanks very much for that, Liam. Great to see you. On to question number 5. Can you tell me what squad number Ozazi Origidi wears?
When I came out, I was looking around, I was like, wow, like this is a proper match day. And then even when the crowd got up, I was getting happy, like even like, it just, I love it, man, I just love it.
On to question number 6 then, and this relates to the manager's age. Can you tell us, how old is Gary Monk?
Such a huge club, a historic club, that traditions. There's been many managers interested and applicants for it. The fact that they've come and spoke to me, and I'm lucky where I've had a experience quite a few years ago of being here as a player. Even though that was a very short stint, I still got, it gave me enough time to understand exactly what this club is and the feeling of how powerful it can be.
Now we go on to question number 7. Can you tell me what team Joe Wildsmith made his first team debut for Wednesday against? It was a League Cup tie, if you need a clue.
Baldock will cross this one in right foot and headed towards goal! Oh, saved by Wildsmith, incredible save.
And what a save he has made, by the way, because I thought that was going to loop over his head into the back of the net.
Saved by Wildsmith. Well, he's made, probably 3 or 4 really top-notch saves tonight, and that's another one. Question number 8 is all about Barry Bannon. Can you tell us what team he scored his first goal for the Owls against? Puts the cross in there, low ball, screwed back towards Bannon! Oh! Barry Bannon! It looks superb, it was superb! Hopefully you're finding these fairly straightforward so far. It will get harder as we go on in the sports quiz. Question number 9 now, and it's another member of the Wednesday squad asking this question. It's striker Jordan Rhodes. Hello, Jordan.
I'm in the current Sheffield Wednesday squad, but represented Scotland at international level.
Cameron will kick it now. Goes along for Stephen Fletcher. Again, 2 surrounded, but he flicks it on. Rhodes has what a finish that was from Jordan Rhodes. He's got it again to aim into the centre. It's Rhodes again! Jordan Rhodes with a header. Fox in the centre of the goal. Still not away. Acrobatics, it's in again. What a finish that is. It's Jordan Rhodes with a hat-trick. Acrobatics, it flies in. What a day he's having. Thanks very much for that, Jordan, and good to see those goals at the City Ground from earlier in the season. A great day that was. So our final question of round 1 is this one. Question number 10. Can you tell me how many members of the Wednesday first team squad are still at the club that featured in the 2016 playoff final against Hull City at Wembley Stadium. Of course, the result at Wembley wasn't what we all hoped for, but the Wednesday fans certainly emerged with plenty of credit. What a wonderful, wonderful atmosphere this is here at Wembley Stadium. Sheffield Wednesday and Hull City doing battle for a place in the Premier League.
This is absolutely phenomenal atmosphere.
A lot of people who've seen games at Wembley say they never heard noise like this.
We know that before the game that about this we will win, absolutely. Outside of the pitch we will win.
2005 playoff winner Lee Peacock joins me for the commentary.
You look out there right now, how much we outnumber the Hull fans. Every single one of these supporters can play their part.
Sheffield Wednesday fans, they are amazing. So along the season, they was fantastic. You know, they follow us, they support us all the time.
It's going to be Hull City to kick us off here at Wembley Stadium. We're up and running.
The signal that they give to us, I talk with my players after in the dressing room, must be something that we must put in our heart.
Hopefully you did okay in that round. The questions are going to get harder as we go along. The next round is all about the Steel City Derby, and I'm going to be reunited with a very familiar face. Stand by, you're about to find out who.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome
the one and only legendary Mr. John Pearson. Now, I haven't seen you for a while. This is a little bit different to normal, but we're back together for one night only. It's good to see you again.
One night only, Rob. It's very good. Looking forward to it, mate.
It is good to see you again. Obviously, strange times, and we are missing our football fix. So hopefully this will go some way towards keeping people entertained. I suppose it is hard, though, when there's no football to look forward to every week.
It's been really difficult, hasn't it? I mean, the football season, who knows what's going to happen. We're in uncertain times, and anything could happen. I prefer the French league, the way that they've finished. That would put us in third place and the top three teams get promoted. That would be the best way.
That would be nice, but obviously there's a lot to weigh up and decide over the coming weeks and months, so let's crack on with our quiz. This is the Steel City Derby round, so it's questions purely about matches between Wednesday and United over the years. I'm going to kick off this round. Remember, you can post your answers on social media using the hashtag SWFC quiz. So, question one. Who scored both goals against United in the 92-93 FA Cup semi-final at Wembley, which Wednesday won, of course, by 2-1? That's the first question.
Well, I would doubt if Wembley has ever seen so many balloons. Hundreds of thousands of them. The biggest order in the city by one man was alone for 100,000. There have been several orders of 10,000 and 5,000. City evacuated for the day as Sheffield comes to Wembley.
I'll hand over to you now then, John, for question two.
Okay, question number two, and this was just after I joined Wednesday. I left school age 15 in 1979, and it was the Boxing Day Massacre. What was the score in that game, and who were the scorers?
None of them was more important than the first meeting of the two Sheffield clubs for 8 years. For weeks, the game had been built up as a South Yorkshire Cup final. For the supporters of both Wednesday and United, it must have been a happy reminder of the days when Sheffield had two First Division teams worthy of their tremendous support.
A bit of archive news footage there from the time. OK, we'll move on to question number three. Only two men have ever managed both clubs. Can you name them? You know that one, John?
I do know that one, actually.
OK, question number four then from you, John.
OK, in the 2011-2012 season, Wednesday won 1-0 at Hillsborough. Who scored the only goal of that game?
It was terrible form to take into one of the most crucial derby clashes of recent memory.
Delight for Sheffield Wednesday.
It was a great victory for the club, but it was not enough for manager Gary Megson to keep his job. After a string of poor results dating back to the middle of January, the board felt that a new man at the helm would help steady the ship.
Moving on then, this is question number 5. Only one man has ever scored for both teams in a derby. Who is it?
toughie, that one. He's through on goal, and he puts it away. What a finish in the pressurised setting of a Steel City derby. Question 6, John.
Okay, how many times have Wednesday and United met competitively?
Oh, decent one. That's going to be a tricky one to answer.
Westwood heads it back to Armstrong. Can Cucci get a header into the goal against the post of Wusu? What a start for Lionel Wusu! His first touch in Sheffield Wednesday colours, and he scored in the Steel City derby.
That was quite an entrance into Sheffield football for Lloyd Owusu there. Next question, number 7. Which former Watford fullback played for both Wednesday and United? You know that one?
No.
I've got him stumped. As a bit of a clue, I can tell you he actually moved from the Owls to United, initially on loan before making the switch permanent.
I don't think I do know that one.
So much history between these sides. Sheffield Wednesday have won 4 league titles, 3 FA Cups, but it's 8 years since they've been in the Premier League. For United, 1 league title, 3 FA Cups, but they have the expectation from their fans getting back to the Premier League this season. Steel yourselves for something special at Hillsborough today.
Okay, the next one. Wednesday beat the Blades at Bramall Lane 3-1 in what was billed as the Steel City Cup.
I remember it very well. It was August 1995.
Can you name the goal scorers that day?
I went to that game, actually.
Yeah, there was some good players playing there.
There was.
Didn't get the header clear, Hoyland. In by Palmer. Watson lays it down. Great left foot shot. Bright scores. Wednesday finally bring this derby match to life. 35,000 spectators sitting with the corner, having given a signal. Kelly started to come, changed his mind. Andy Pearce. Oh, isn't he on a goal-scoring run? He scored in each of the last 2 matches for Wednesday. Watson going through the middle. He might get there before Kelly. He did. Watson gets his header in. It's 3. The goal stands. Kelly is distraught.
Okay, this is my final question. Question number 9. The Steel City derby goes back a long way. But when was the 50th meeting between the two sides? That's testing your long-term knowledge. The former Wednesday lone striker back in our League One days.
Come on, Cameron!
Do what he did against Norwich and save the penalty kick. He's bouncing around on his line as McGoldrick prepares now to step up and take the penalty. He hits it.
Done by
Cameron Dawson!
That's the answer we wanted. He tipped it inside, out for a corner kick. Superb save.
All right, final one from you, John.
Okay, to finish, what was the significance of the games played between the two sides in 2008 and 2009?
Beavers. Goalkeeper Kane didn't get it. Watson! He's going to score! Steve Watson for Sheffield Wednesday! Massive mistake in the Sheffield United defence. Paddy Kenny in a big inquest with Chris Morgan, his defender. Empty net, and Steve Watson, the old soldier, has done it for Sheffield Wednesday.
Sent back out to the right, and Michael Gray, the 34-year-old, drags it back with the right boot, comes to Tommy Spur! Oh! A first-minute goal for Tommy Spur and Sheffield Wednesday! The Owls Academy product drives it home, and the Blades are stunned, and Tommy Spur's loving it! To Tudgate, who now motors forward. Clark trying to get in position for him, and Tudgate! Oh! What a goal! It's absolutely world-class from Marcus Tudgate on the right boot, in the top corner. Paddy Kelly, absolutely no chance. It's an absolute screamer.
Okay, John, well, thank you very much for helping us out with that round. Hopefully we'll be back at it doing some football commentating soon.
Can't wait, Rob. Can't wait. I've got to get back soon. I mean, fed up now.
I know it is. It's tough to say the least. I mean, for the players as well. I mean, they're doing whatever they can to stay fit, but there's nothing that compares to this. I don't think you can have any recall of any circumstances where you weren't able to play when you're fully fit and just not able to just kick a ball in anger.
Well, and also the not knowing. I mean, that must be the worst. I mean, it does. Pre-seasons take 4 or 5 weeks, and even then, when you start playing football again, it takes 4 or 5 games to get up to match fitness. So it'll be a really testing time, but I'm sure we've got the capabilities to do that.
Excellent. Thank you for now, John. We'll be catching up a little later on, and I might even let you slip in a question about yourself as well somewhere.
Cheers, Rob.
Brilliant. Thank you. Now, I don't know about you, but this lockdown business can be hard work, trying to come up with new things to keep boredom at bay. So the other day I thought, do you know what, I'm going to dig out some old Wednesday goals and watch them back to pass some time. It would have been a great idea, but for some reason my recording has gone completely wrong. All of the goals are playing at high speed, there's no commentary, and the picture quality isn't the best either. So I need your help in this round to identify all of the goal scorers in order. I also want you to tell me how many goals are scored in total, and for a bonus point, can you tell me the player scoring his final goal for Wednesday before moving on to a new club? So notepads at the ready, or remember to include the hashtag SWFC quiz if you're posting your answers online. Let's get ready to play then. It's action replay at high speed.
Sheffield Wednesday Lockdown Sports Quiz with myself, Rob O'Neill. You'll recall earlier on I promised you a number of special guest stars throughout the course of the programme. We've already heard from two members of the first team squad in round one setting questions. Also John Pearson, my sidekick on iFollow, teamed me up for the Steel City Derby round. We're going to turn the clock back again to yesteryear with some more favourites from days gone by. And they've got a question each to present to you.
Hello Sheffield Wednesday fans. My question to you is, I signed for Sheffield Wednesday in '96, but which club did I join from?
He's sent back. Must be his goal. This is Carboni. Oh! A candidate there for goal of the season, surely. The little Italian. Brilliant control, brilliant execution. 8 minutes gone, it's 1-1.
For a bonus point, can you tell me who I scored my first goal for Sheffield Wednesday against?
Cleared away as far as Kieran Lee. Will he strike it? No, he stands the cross in towards Reader Johnson! Wednesday take the lead in the Yorkshire Derby! And it's Wednesday's big centre-half who scored against Macclesfield, a safe centre-half. He plays left-back these days, but he's put that into the centre of the goal, and Sheffield Wednesday in 19 minutes lead against Leeds.
Hello, the Wednesday family. How are you? I hope you're all fine. It's Reader Johnson with you today. So I've got a question for you. Who can tell me which manager signed me for Sheffield Wednesday? Two songs. There is one is Follow the Reader, 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 Follow the Reader. And the second one is Reader, Reader, Reader. Reader, 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 Johnson, JJ. Now, for a bonus point, who can tell me who was playing alongside me as a centre-back for my first game at home for Sheffield Wednesday? Good luck.
Free kicks floated into the box. It's half cleared away. Comes to Haslam. He slips, but it scrubs its way through. And Haslam has his first for the Owls.
I made my Sheffield Wednesday debut in May 1999, but who was it against? Was it Arsenal, Liverpool, Manchester United or Tottenham?
The long throw goes in towards Reader Johnson. Doesn't get on it though. He'll try and win it second time around. Has he got the free kick? No, he hasn't, but Marshall wins it back for Wednesday. Clips it into the box. There's Jones! Oh! He throws Wednesday a lifeline with a header into the far corner. Great cross from Marshall, and Wednesday have got a chance now of turning this one around. 3 goals already inside the first half.
Hi everyone, hope you're all well and staying safe. My question to you is, during my time at Sheffield Wednesday, how many times did I score? And for a bonus point, who did I score my first goal against?
When your kid's under the gas lamp, you're scoring in cup finals every time, aren't you? Every time you play. So I scored in the cup final, I suppose, but I like my career.
After only 4 minutes, the final became electric. Jimmy McKellar's shot found the net. Goal for Wednesday. It was the peak of excitement when David Ford scored Wednesday's second goal.
Hi, my name's John Brodie, Sheffield Wednesday historian. My question for the quiz is, Wednesday were formed in 1867 as the Wednesday FC, but when did they officially change the name to Sheffield Wednesday? The 4 options are A, 1923, B, 1925, C, 1927, or D, 1929.
In it goes, the corner kick from Maguire out towards the edge of the area. It's played towards Palmer. It's blocked off by Bobby Zamora. Wednesday still have it, and a shot will go in. Yeah! What a strike! What a stunning strike! Is that Lewis Buxton?
I think it is.
He's just lashed it into the bottom corner. I can't believe that the right back has just done that. He just leathers it into the bottom corner. He's falling backwards, and it goes into the far corner as Murphy tries to keep it out.
Hello everyone, hope you're well. Which season was I voted Sheffield Wednesday Player of the Season by the fans?
Sheffield-born striker John Pearson had joined the club straight from school. He marked his early Wednesday appearances with some useful goals.
But suddenly out of nothing, Pearson scores. Pearson's in the middle, so too is McCulloch, and there are 3 others in support. McCulloch hit the bar, Pearson! And the substitute scores within a couple of minutes of coming on.
Right, next question. And for those of you old enough to remember, I actually scored the fastest goal at Hillsborough in 1982 against Bolton Wanderers in a game that we won 3-1. Now, the question is, how fast was that goal? Was it 9 seconds? Was it 13 seconds? Was it 15 seconds? Or was it 17 seconds?
Chapman and Marwood is allowed to go on onside, and Pearson, he could hardly believe it. It virtually hit him and went in.
And Sheffield Wednesday get an equaliser. Wednesday 1, Derby 1.
Wasn't it great to catch up with those former Wednesday favourites? They'll be back later on providing their answers. But right now we're going to play our music round, but as always with a Wednesday related twist to the questions. Keep playing along at home using the hashtag SWFC quiz. There's another 10 points at stake in this round. Let's see how you get on as we play the Owls That Rock. So let's get this round underway, and I want to know this for question number 1. Can you name the Sheffield Wednesday supporting musician associated with Squeeze, Ace, Mike and the Mechanics and Roxy Music, to name but a few? There's a further 2 points up for grabs in this next question. What I want to know is which 70s Wednesday star had a hit with this Wednesday club anthem. And for a further point, I want to know which London-based Owls fan covered this song in 2011, with all proceeds raised going towards Sheffield Children's Hospital. Never felt more like singing the blues. The Wednesday win, and United lose. Oh, Wednesday, you got me singing the blues. I never felt more like crying all night when United are wrong. The Wednesday alright. Oh, Wednesday, you got me singing the blues. And stars no longer shine. Dream has gone, I thought was mine. Nothing left for me to cry. Next up, a question relating to Martin Ware of Heaven 17 and the Human League fame. So the question I have for you here is this: can you tell me what Sheffield Wednesday related organisation Martin was a founding member of?
He's actually a much better player than people give him credit for, and because he looks a bit ungainly. Yeah. I remember Gerald Sibon had a similar problem, not as bulky, but it's like you couldn't get the ball off Sibon, and you can't get the ball off him.
The next question relates to a world famous rock band from Sheffield. A further 2 points are up for grabs with this answer. Firstly, can you tell me which member of the band is a Wednesday supporter?
We can't kid each other, you know, we've known each other too long.
When you support two Sheffield teams, you have feet are firmly on the ground.
Oh, that is true, that'll bring you back to it.
And for a further point, can you tell me what dark footballing secret does he hide?
That is the full-time whistle. No goals again in the Steel City derby and very few chances. Wednesday had a great opportunity second half with Sam Hutchinson. In the first half, Gary Medine almost scored on his return to Hillsborough.
Now I want you to name a Wednesday fan who was part of a famous American pop dynasty.
I've converted you already, so you're with us, right?
Sheffield. What you mean? We about to go on stage. What?
Listen, Sheffield is playing today, so we gotta give them some
love.
love.
What you mean? You feel not Sheffield, not Thursday, not Friday, not Saturday, not Sunday, not Monday, not even Tuesday. Sheffield what?
Wednesday.
Sheffield Wednesday.
So guys, I'm telling you right now, we gotta give some love to Sheffield Wednesday because it's
our time. It's our time, baby.
Okay, the next one. Now I want to know who had a hit with this famous Wednesday song. And there is a bonus point available. Can you tell me what position this song reached in the UK charts in 1967? But by no means least, you've probably seen some of these videos posted online, usually by Lee Bullen. The initiation songs have become something of a tradition at Sheffield Wednesday when a new player signs to the club. Can you identify this former Wednesday loanee who had to showcase his vocal talents on one of the club's away trips? Well, that brings us to an end of our music round. We have just one more round to go, but we'll bring you all of the answers to our big Sheffield Wednesday Lockdown Sports Quiz. And so we get on to our final round, which is the picture round, so it's all about your powers of observation. We'll find out who knows what about their football team. Some of the answers perhaps will be a little bit easier to guess than others. Certainly more established stars you'll know, I think, without too much thought, but there's one or two other players that perhaps didn't make such a lasting impression during their time at Hillsborough. So we'll start then with our first picture. Can you identify this Wednesday player with his shirt over his head? Now, most Wednesday fans will recognise John Harkes as shown in this picture, but who is the other American international alongside him? He had a trial at the same time as John, but ultimately wasn't offered a contract. Question number 3. Can you recognise this ex-Owl? He didn't play that often for Wednesday. In fact, he turned out just 13 times over a 5-year spell at Hillsborough. Question number 4. This international midfielder joined Wednesday in the twilight of his career. He only played a handful of times. Can you tell us who it is? Question number 5. Do you recognise this ex-Wednesday defender who went on to enjoy a lengthy coaching career after hanging up his boots? Question number 6. This ex-Wednesday man followed Chris Turner to Hillsborough from his former club. What about this one then for a challenge? Question number 7. This certainly wasn't the kit he wore while playing for Wednesday. Pictured here is pop star Jarvis Cocker alongside fellow Wednesday supporting musician Richard Hawley. The pair were at Hillsborough for a game back in January 2012 when they were making the half-time draw. But can you tell me who were Wednesday's opponents that day? Was it A, Charlton Athletic, B, Derby County, C, Ipswich Town, or D, Middlesbrough? That's our question number 8. Question 9 should be a little bit more straightforward. Who's this hiding under his towel? And finally, an oldie but a goodie. Who remembers this fella from his time at Hillsborough? Well, that just about brings us to the end of our sports quiz, but there is one more question I want to put your way before you disappear. And it's also to see how closely you've been watching. Earlier on tonight, I was presenting alongside a signed photo of somebody who's very well revered within Sheffield Wednesday circles. Did you spot who it is? The answer to that and the rest of our questions is coming up after we take a short break. See you very soon. Game over. And we are back in the room. Thank you very much indeed for returning and for joining us tonight. Hope you've enjoyed playing along at home. It's high time, though, that we reveal the answers to all of our questions in the Wednesday Lockdown Sports Quiz. There's been plenty to get through, 6 rounds in all. 91 points were up for grabs. Let's find out how well you got on. So I'm now here in the confines of my home studio, ready to reveal all. But before we progress any further, you'll remember at the end of the last part, I set you a challenge to identify who the mystery man was in the signed photo frame to the left-hand side of me while I was presenting in the early part of the programme. The answer, of course, was Mr. Ron Atkinson, the man, of course, who led Wednesday to glory in the 1991 League Cup final. So perhaps it's fitting that there are 91 points you could possibly win tonight if you've managed to answer all of the questions correctly. Because what happened in 91? Oh yeah, a certain John Sheridan put it into the back of the Man U net.
There goes Hawks. Now will Worthington play? Murray plays the long one this time.
Terrific goal by Sheridan. A terrific goal for Sheffield Wednesday.
Super goal. And off the post, Seeley made almost an exceptional save, but could only push it onto the post. And Wednesday are in the lead.
Contrived, perhaps, but any excuse to play Shez's goal from 91, I think, is good reason enough. So that is 1 point, that big Ron Atkinson question. So that's the 1 point that you now know the answer to. Let's go through the rest of the rounds, and we'll start with the here and now. That was round 1, and it was based on all of the current squad. The first question we asked you was this: who in the Sheffield Wednesday squad has made the most appearances for the club? The answer to that question was Atinuyu. So if you got that right, you've got yourself a point. Question number 2, we asked you this: how many goals in the Championship has Stephen Fletcher scored so far this season? The answer to that question was 13. Question number 3, we asked you which club did Julian Berner sign from to join the Owls last summer? The answer was Arminia Bielefeld. Good bit of scouting there, I think it's fair to say. Liam Palmer popped up for question number 4, and it's only right that he returns to give you the answer.
Can you name the club I played for on loan during the 2012-2013 season? The answer is Tranmere Rovers.
Question number 5, I asked you this: what squad number does Osazi Origidi wear? The answer to that one is, of course, number 44. I had to make sure we desperately kept it out of the edit, by the way. A few times it nearly sneaked in. Question number 6 related to the manager's age. I asked you, how old is Gary Monk? The answer to that one is 41, so a point there if you got that correct. Question number 7. I asked you which team Joe Wildsmith made his Wednesday debut against. The answer was Mansfield Town in a League Cup tie. Barry Bannon scored his first goal for Sheffield Wednesday against which club? The answer to that one was Cardiff.
Great ball. Good turn here from Wallace in towards Bannon. Yes! Get in there!
Question number 9 was asked by striker Jordan Rhodes, and the Wednesday man is back again to recap his question and to give you the correct answer.
How many of the current Sheffield Wednesday squad have represented Scotland at international level? Myself, Liam Palmer, David Bates, Barry Bannon and Stephen Fletcher.
A total of 6 points were available for that question, 5 for naming all of the individual players, and obviously 1 for actually getting the total itself. And the final question of this round is question number 10. I asked you this: how many players are still at the club that were involved in the playoff final against Hull City back in 2016? The answer I was looking for was 8, so 1 point for that. But if you manage to identify all of the individuals, I'll give you a further 8 points, so that means a total of 23 points available from this round.
And so we move on to round number 2. That was all based on the Steel City derbies. And of course I was joined by my sidekick from iFollow, John Pearson, to set you these questions. He's not here to go through the answers, but let's see whether you've managed to do well here. We'll start with number 1. Who scored Wednesday's 2 goals versus United in the Wembley FA Cup semi-final in the 92-93 season? You should know this. Chris Waddle and Mark Bright.
Chris Waddle, is he going to have a crack? Oh, he does, and he scores! Anything Paul Gascoigne can do, Chris Waddle can do. Bright. And in the end, the easiest goal you could wish for.
Question number 2 was, what was the score in the Boxing Day massacre? We're also offering a bonus point if you could tell us the goal scorers. The answers to this, well, it was 4-0 the scoreline, so that was point number 1. And then the 4 goal scorers were Ian Mellor, Terry Curran, Jeff King, and also Mark Smith with a penalty.
The goal finally came from Ian Mellor. It was the sort of present that Wednesday's fans had been praying for. From then on, Wednesday stormed ahead. Terry Curran finished off a strong left-wing run by McCulloch, and 3 minutes later it was 3-0. This time a similar right-wing run by Curran was easily finished off by Jeff King. All that was left was a penalty, given away by the United keeper Richardson. It completed a sad morning for Sheffield United and their fans. But no one else was disappointed as Mark Smith made it 4-0.
Question number 3 was this one. Only 2 men have managed both clubs in Sheffield. Did you know this? You should have done. John Pearson actually gave the answer away when I was going through it, and I didn't want him to do that, so I had to scrub that from the edit. But the answer, of course, was Danny Wilson and also Steve Bruce. So well done if you got that right. So 2 points there achieved, I'm sure. On to this next question. It's number 4. In the 2011-2012 season, Wednesday won 1-0 against Sheffield United at Hillsborough. A famous victory that, but it was also Gary Megson's final game in charge of the Owls. Who was the scorer on that day? The answer was, of course, Chris O'Grady. Question 5. Only 1 man has managed to score for both teams in a Steel City derby. The answer to this one was Alan Quinn, the Irishman.
Well, Alan Quinn charges through by himself, and he has put Sheffield Wednesday in front.
Question 6. How many times have Wednesday and United met competitively? That was what we asked you. The answer is 131 times. On to question number 7. Which former Watford fullback played for both Wednesday and United? The answer was Wilf Rostron. He went from Wednesday initially on loan to the Blades before making a move at Bramall Lane Permanent. Question number 8 was this. Wednesday beat the Blades 3-1 in the Steel City Cup, a pre-season friendly in August 1995. But who were the goal scorers? The answer we were looking for was David Hurst, Peter Atherton and Mark Bright. I went to that game as well.
Hurst is in there. 1-1. David Hurst gets the equaliser. Pembridge with it. And headed powerfully in by Atherton. Petrescu. Bright. 3-1. Mark Bright with the header.
So 3 points there if you've managed to get them all correct. Question number 9. The Steel City derby goes back a long way. When was the 50th meeting between the two sides? The answer was 1927, and no, I wasn't at that one. And the final question of this round, number 10, was this. What was the significance of the games between the two sides in the 2009-2010 season? The answer was that Wednesday managed to do the double over the Blades for the first time in 95 years.
All the noise from the Wednesday fans, the Blades fans heading for the exits. Wednesday fans loud and proud inside Bramall Lane, and no doubt loud and proud back at Hillsborough as they watch on the big screen. Yes! The referee puts the whistle to his lips. Sheffield Wednesday have completed a famous derby double for the first time in 95 years. Sheffield Wednesday beat their arch rivals Sheffield United home and away in one season. season, Brian Laws puts himself into Sheffield Wednesday history.
So if you got them all right in the Steel City Derby round, you got a total of 19 points, so well done you. Round number 3 was the fast forward action replay round, where you had to watch a video that had got seriously mixed up. It was going too fast, there were bits dropping out everywhere, and I wanted you to identify all of the goal scorers, the sequence of all the goal scorers, and also the player that scored his final goal for Wednesday before moving on to a new club. As it turned out, the player that scored his final goal for Wednesday actually got his first goal, so it's his first and last. That was Sean Clare, if you got that one right. There were 16 goals in total that we showed you, and I'll run down the full list now in sequence. The first goal was Jacob Murphy, which was earlier in the season against Leeds United when Wednesday won 2-0. Atiui, of course, got the late second for Wednesday. Goal number 2 was Paolo Di Canio linking up with his Italian compatriot Benny Carboni. What a fantastically skillful set of players those two were. Goal number 3 was Lucas João with a late goal in Ipswich Town to win the points for Wednesday under Steve Bruce. Goal 4 was Adam Reach. What a blockbuster that was against Villa. We saw that 2 or 3 times, but I have to say, you don't need an excuse to watch that one again and again. I certainly remember goal number 5 very well. Kieran Lee with a dramatic late winner against Bristol City. Reader Johnson was on target in a 4-4 draw against Huddersfield Town at Hillsborough. Of course, Jordan Rhodes scored 4 goals for the Terriers on that day too, so let's not remember that. David Hurst netted on the opening day of the season against Aston Villa as Big Ron made his return to Hillsborough shortly after making a controversial switch to Aston Villa. Tom Lees put away a bullet header against Newcastle in a game that also saw Stephen Fletcher on target against the Magpies. Next you will have seen Chris O'Grady getting that derby goal that we talked about earlier in Gary Megson's final game in charge of Wednesday. Sean Clare's one and only goal for Wednesday was a well-taken effort against Aston Villa. And what about that screamer from Chris Maguire, a late winner against Barnsley? The clip of Gary Hooper was Hooper in a nutshell, really. A clinical, cool finish, lofting it over the goalkeeper against Cardiff. You also saw a bit of John Sheridan magic away at Luton Town. And of course, what a player Mikel Antonio was for us during our promotion season. That was the final game of the campaign as Wednesday went up with that win against Wycombe Wanderers. We also saw Sam Winnell netting on Gary Monk's debut as the Wednesday boss away at Huddersfield. And last but by no means least, Atinui's wonder goal against Preston. He needed just to keep the ball down in the corner flag, but Ati, he had other ideas and stuck it in the top bins. So if you got all of those goals correct, you could have scored yourself a total of 18 points in that round. On to round 4 then, and this is what we call the history round, as we caught up with some old favourites. 10 possible points were available. Let's get them to tell you their question again and to reveal all of the answers.
Hello Sheffield Wednesday fans. My question to you is, I signed for Sheffield Wednesday in '96, but which club did I join from? My club was Inter Milan. For a bonus point, can you tell me who I scored my first goal for Sheffield Wednesday against? Of course, my first goal was against Nottingham Forest at Hillsborough in November '96.
Hello, the Wednesday family. How are you? I hope you're all fine. It's Rida Johnson with you today. So I've got a question for you. Who can tell me which manager signed me for Sheffield Wednesday? So the manager who signed me for Sheffield Wednesday is Alan Irvine. Now, for a bonus point, who can tell me who was playing alongside me as a centre-back for my first game at home for Sheffield Wednesday? And the player who was playing alongside me is Darren Pearce, big skipper, my man. So I want to say everyone all the best, stay home, stay safe.
I made my Sheffield Wednesday debut in May 1999, but who was it against? Was it Arsenal, Liverpool, Manchester United or Tottenham? The answer is Liverpool in a 1-0 win at Hillsborough.
Hi everyone, Hope you're all well and staying safe. My question to you is, during my time at Sheffield Wednesday, how many times did I score? And for a bonus point, who did I score my first goal against? The answer is as follows. Throughout my career at Sheffield Wednesday, I scored 5 goals, and my first goal was against Brentford in the 2010-11 season when I was on loan.
Hi, my name's John Brodie, Sheffield Wednesday historian. My question for the quiz is, Wednesday were formed in 1867 as the Wednesday FC, but when did they officially change the name to Sheffield Wednesday? The 4 options are A, 1923, B, 1925, C, 1927, or D, 1929. And the answer is D. On the Board of Trade official certificate, the actual date is August the 3rd, 1929. Hope you're all keeping safe in these difficult times and up the Owls.
Hello everyone, hope you're well. Which season was I voted Sheffield Wednesday Player of the Season by the fans? It was the 2012-2013 season, our first season. Shut up!
Right, next question. For those of you old enough to remember, I scored the fastest goal at Hillsborough in 1982 against Bolton Wanderers in a game that we won 3-1. Now, the question is, how fast was that goal? Was it 9 seconds? Was it 13 seconds? Was it 15 seconds? Or was it 17 seconds? So the answer to the personal quiz question, the fastest goal at Hillsborough, the time was 13 seconds.
Round 5 was a music round with Sheffield Wednesday connotations. 10 points were available throughout this round. The first question we asked you was this: can you name the Sheffield Wednesday supporting musician associated with Squeeze, Ace, Mike and the Mechanics and Roxy Music, to name but a few? The answer to that one was Paul Carrick for 1 point. Question 2 was split into 2 parts, so there were 2 points available here. The first question was this: which former Sheffield Wednesday star from the 70s put his vocal talents to this well-known club anthem? And that, of course, was Terry Curran. The second part of the question was which London-based Owls fan covered it in 2011, with all proceeds going to the Sheffield Children's Hospital? The answer to that was Tom Moriarty, so that was 1 more point, so 2 points there, so you could have up to 3 points so far. Question number 3 was this: it related to Martin Ware of Heaven 17 and the Human League. Martin was one of the founding members of what Wednesday-related organisation? The answer I was looking for was the Owls Trust. Of course, they've since rebranded and went on to be called Wednesdayites. Now, question number 4. This relates to world-famous Sheffield rock band Def Leppard. I wanted to know which member was a Wednesday fan in the band. That was Rick Savage for 1 point. His dark secret was the second part that I wanted to know. What was his footballing dark secret? I'll let Rick reveal all.
He, of course, used to play for Sheffield United.
Can you believe it? I still
As a
can't
Wednesday
believe
night.
it. They signed me on schoolboy forms. I played for Sheffield Boys, South Yorkshire Boys, and I could have actually signed at the time for Sheffield Wednesday, but it was the mid-70s, and Wednesday had just had the worst season ever. And United actually did have a decent team at that point.
So Splitter?
I actually I wore the red and white stripe for 2 years. I never ever played well.
It's like the reverse of Billy's boots.
Yeah. And I have to say, I did wear a vest under the shirt, so that the shirt never actually touched my skin.
Okay. Question 5, I wanted to know what famous Sheffield Wednesday fan was part of an American pop dynasty. Well, of course, the answer was Jermaine Jackson, who was part of the Jackson 5. Question number 6, again, 2 parts to it, so 2 points available. The first part was this: we wanted to know who had a hit with the famous Wednesday song Hi Ho Silver Lining. Of course, it was Jeff Beck. And the second part I wanted to know for a bonus point was what chart position it reached in the UK music chart upon its release in 1967. The answer was number 14. And the final question of this round, can you identify the former Wednesday loanee showcasing his vocal talents to his new teammates with his initiation song? Well, the answer to this one was Joe Bennett when he was on loan at the club from Aston Villa. Of course, he's since gone on to join Cardiff City. So if you got all of them right, you got yourself a further 10 points. Our final round was the picture round, and this was a case of working out who was who and testing out your powers of recall. The first picture, well, that showed Dominic Iorfa with his shirt over his head after a bad day at the office against Brentford earlier this season. Question 2, most Wednesday fans certainly recognise John Harkes in the picture, but who was the other American international who came to the club on trial at the same time? The answer to that was the US goalkeeper Tony Meola. Question 3, who remembers this fella from his time at Hillsborough? It was the Australian midfielder Adam Porrick. Never really made much of an impression despite spending over 5 years at Hillsborough. Question 4, can you identify this former international midfielder who was signed by Wednesday in the twilight of his career, our back end of our Premier League days? Well, the answer to this question was Barry Horn, the former Everton man who came to try and help out with Peter Shreves having taken over as caretaker manager from Danny Wilson. Question number 5, I'm sure many of our older fans will recognise this fella. Of course, it was Sam Ellis, the former Owls centre-half who's since gone on to be a very successful coach, working alongside the likes of Tony Pulis, Kevin Blackwell and also Stan Turnant. Question number 6, I wanted you to tell me who this former Wednesday man was. It was, of course, winger Paul Smith, who joined the club from Hartlepool like manager Chris Turner. What about this one then? Question number 7. As I say, he didn't wear this outfit when he was playing at Hillsborough. He didn't play too many times, in fairness, for the club. It is John Best Wetherick. Didn't really manage to hit the heights during his time at Wednesday after signing with high hopes from Plymouth Argyle. We showed you a picture earlier on of pop star Jarvis Cocker along with fellow musician Richard Hawley and wanted to know what game it was taken at. The pair were at the club to do the half-time prize draw after being invited as guest of honour. Well, the opponents for Wednesday that day were Charlton Athletic. It was January 2012. Who had trouble with question number 9? You should have got this one. It is, of course, Kieran Westwood hiding under his towel. And last but by no means least, who was this oldie but a goodie? It was, of course, Willie Henderson. So if you got that one, well done to you. So in that round, in total, you should have managed to accumulate a further 10 points to your total, which, as I say, along with that bonus point that I gave you for getting Big Ron right, would give you a total of 91 out of 91 if you've managed to correctly get everything right. Well, that brings an end to our quiz night, but thank you very much for playing along at home, and I hope you've enjoyed reminiscing at some of the clips from days gone by. Obviously no football at the moment, but hopefully some memories came flooding back. Hopefully Wednesday will be back out there soon, playing once again on a match day, but in the meantime, please keep yourself safe and keep following the government guidelines. I'll see you very soon. Take care.
Game over.